Today's episode will be a little different from ones I've done in the past. Instead of focusing on a specific exercise or health or fitness topic, I'm going to talk about a specific muscle group. One that I think is fairly popular in the training realm. That muscle group is the anterior upper arm. Some of you may know this as the area of the biceps which is 100% correct. But there's also muscles that you may not know about, such as the coracobrachialis and brachialis muscles. Now, before we get started, this is episode 13 of the Racco Strength and Fitness podcast. That means this is the Dan Marino, A-Rod, and Wilt Chamberlain episodes. Alright, so now that we got the important stuff out of the way, let's begin. First, we need to look at the muscles of the anterior upper arm and their functions. Let's start with the obvious. The biceps brachii is probably one of the most popular muscles. It's easy to train. All you need are some dumbbells or a barbell, and you can curl until the cows come home. And they're one of those magazine or mirror muscles that I've talked about. You see them in the mirror, you flex to yourself, you imagine that the girl or guy you've had a crush on for years will finally notice you because you've been doing over 1,000 curls a day. We've all been there. But let's look at the purpose and the anatomy of the biceps brachii other than just giving us an ego boost. As I said before, the biceps brachii is the biggest and most recognizable muscle of the upper arm. Funny thing is, it actually has no attachments to our humerus whatsoever. The biceps' two heads originate in the shoulder. The long head originates on the supraglenoid tubercle, and the short head originates on the coracoid process. Both are parts of the scapula. The bicep inserts on the radial tuberosity and the fascia of the forearm. So again, literally no part of the bicep is actually attached to the humerus, even though they seem to be constantly associated together. The function of the bicep is to flex the arm at the elbow, assist in shoulder flexion, and because of its insertion into the radial tuberosity, it also helps with supination of the forearm. The coracobrachialis muscle is a smaller muscle located on the superior portion of the upper arm. It originates on the coracoid process of the scapula, just like the short head of the bicep, only its insertion is found on the medial portion of the humerus. Its function is assisting in flexion of the upper arm at the shoulder joint and arm adduction. Finally, we come to the brachialis. This muscle originates on the distal portion of the humerus and inserts into the coronoid process and tuberosity of the ulna. Its function is flexion of the arm at the elbow. Now that we are familiar with the muscles of the anterior portion of the upper arm and what each of their functions are, how can we use this knowledge to improve our training? Well, first, we need to understand that just because these muscles are found in a similar area does not mean that they are all trained in the exact same way with the exact same exercises. Let's start with the biggest, most obvious. As we said before, the bicep is not actually attached to the humerus at all. It originates in the shoulder and inserts into the forearm. Its main function is elbow flexion, but it also assists in shoulder flexion and supination of the forearm. So what does the anatomy tell us? When doing exercises like a bicep curl, keeping a supinated or palms up grip will make sure that the bicep is fully engaged. Also, by lengthening the muscle from origin to insertion, you are able to work the muscle through its fullest range of motion. Now remember, muscles do not actually change length. They have a predetermined origin and insertion, and this does not change. By saying we are lengthening a particular muscle, what I mean is that the muscle is fully stretched at completion of the eccentric portion of the lift. By performing an inclined supinated bicep curl, we have all the components to fully engage the bicep muscle through a full range of motion. The positioning of our shoulder and extension and our forearm in supination allows for full recruitment of the biceps brachii. Other exercises that are great for bicep development are the standing easy curl bar, wide, narrow, or regular grip barbell curls, and dumbbell or cable curls. Let's move on to the coracobrachialis. Remember, this is the muscle that's located on the superior or upper portion of the humerus. It aids in flexion of the shoulder and adduction of the arm. Generally, the coracobrachialis is going to be a stabilizing muscle for exercises like the push-up or bench press, and is an ancillary flexor for exercises like the front raise. Probably not exercises you expected when talking about the upper arm. If you want to get a little more coracobrachialis recruitment in your bench press, try using dumbbells instead of a barbell. This makes the exercise a little more unstable, requiring more recruitment of the shoulder stabilizing muscles like the coracobrachialis. Finally, we've come to the brachialis muscle. Again, this is an upper arm muscle that originates on the humerus and inserts into the ulna. Its main function is to flex the arm at the elbow. By using a neutral grip during the bicep curl, also known as a hammer curl, you can better target the brachialis during training. Just keep in mind, it is impossible to completely isolate any of these muscles during upper arm training. Each muscle will be worked at any given time during these exercises. However, it's possible to better recruit a specific muscle by changing hand or arm positioning. Make sure to include different variations of each exercise to fully develop and strengthen the muscles of your upper arm. That's all for me, everyone. I hope you were able to learn something that you'll be able to apply in your future training. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more training content in the future. Happy training, everyone, and remember, grab the bull by the tusks.